Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I am recording this part straight after the last one because shit's still weird. Shit is still weird. And I still don't know if this is an ending because, again, I'm recording straight after the last one. I don't know if this is an actual ending. Or not. But as things are still weird, I'm gonna go without the bucket this time and try and get that last,
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
get the last
The lounge was grand,
Stanley figurine.
but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Because I think I know where it is, but I couldn't go there
So
without the bucket. With the bucket even.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you What? Really?
Yes.
You're in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley, and there it is. The last Stiglywig.
Yay!
Stanley, this is a real accomplishment. This is doing something just for the sake of doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward. I would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that. Instead, I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here. And now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
Oh, okay.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
No.
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
I think I've done this bit already.
Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You
Yes.
want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me.
Oh, it's this again. Okay.
There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place.
Is it going to be the same baby game?
Developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin. Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. A 1? I mean, I can understand if you had reservations, you saw ways the game could be improved to more fully express itself mechanically and artistically, but a 1? That's not even helpful. What am I supposed to do with that? But I guess it isn't my place to judge. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Is this the same as before? That's the same.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up.
If it's,
In this game,
yeah, right. I'm gonna just restart because we've been here, done that. We don't need to do it again. Okay, what were we doing though? Is the question.
Stanley, I'm sorry, but I have to put a pause
Oh.
on things. It's those figurines, those figglers. I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one. Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life? Didn't
Absolutely.
fill you to the brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone? I would love nothing more than to revisit the figurines. Just one more time.
Oh, we're going down. Okay.
Here's where it all began. The first collectible.
Yeah.
Back then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain?
Wait.
We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley.
We're getting more.
And here was a second Stanley. I'll be honest.
Yes.
Back then, I had no faith in you to find any of them.
Rude.
But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways. Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these
Been in
rooms
the
was
bathroom?
The room you found your third mini stand? Can you remember? Hey, that's exactly right. It was the boss's bathroom. It was the third one. You picked it up, and then after that, you had 3 of them.
Yeah.
I'm glad these moments are so crystal clear in your memory, but I shouldn't be surprised. After all, science tells us that it's impossible to forget your third time doing anything.
Really?
Let's see, what came next?
The boss's office.
Oh yes, we found a Figley in this pink room. Oh well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened.
But it didn't happen. How do we get here? We're missing the boss's office though.
This was the 5th mini stand, and this one was really something special. It was in the warehouse. I remember it so clearly. In fact, because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion. Enjoy.
Oh my, okay. What's back there? The Stanley. I did find it near the cargo lift. A narrator, you didn't give me much of a choice but to watch that.
Takes you back, doesn't it? I spent a lot of time making that video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else.
We missed the boss's
And then,
office.
Stanley, then we came to the last collectible, the final figurine, right here by the red and blue doors. This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others. Who can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figly and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other. Except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like.
Oh. Oh, we're getting more matrixy. You are in the present.
And then there was no more. Because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the
burn.
future. Goodbye, memory zone. No, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on. Stop the loading screen. Isn't there some way we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the memory zone again from the opposite direction. See how that feels. Okay, yes, the room with the red and blue doors. I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the memory zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going, I want more. And here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the video we watched? Yes.
Yep.
I love that video.
And the weird pink room that we've never
Still don't
actually been in.
Stanley, still no memory of this one. Good room, though. A solid room.
But we're still missing one.
These really were a treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have neutered the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one.
Oh, I can't go that way. Rude.
This was our second Figly. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going.
Okay.
This is it. The very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the Figurines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this?
Oh. Oh.
Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it.
Yeah.
But time does put a rosy filter on everything. In fact, I dare say I'm actually quite fond of it now. Look how much fun the past is. I want more. More memories. Oh, yes, the two doors. Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one. And before everything else, there was your office.
Yup.
Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your office? There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember. Yes, I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy, and I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions. He would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it. I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore. Oh, but he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone,
Is this
how
like
about
the
one more
end?
good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much.
Okay.
Here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
This is so weird.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Bucket.
The bucket made Stanley want to be a better man and a better co-worker. In time, perhaps, he would become both of those things.
I cannot remember now. Like he's thrown me out of whack of what we should be doing. Shit's changing again. I swear.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
I don't think we've been down here with the bucket. I'm really struggling to remember what we've done and what we haven't now.
Glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place.
Oh.
You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't
The
even from the original
fern.
Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content.
Our
We're the
wife.
ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it. Whee! Look at that wacky line.
Oh my
knows where it'll
days.
go off to next. Oh, and it played some silly music as well. Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue? Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers. Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
What? I don't want to give up my bucket. It's my bucket. Well, that's not menacing.
We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer.
Oh.
I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me, it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree?
Oh.
Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
Oh, you can't actually destroy it. Okay.
I don't know what the bucket destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it.
But you don't let me.
Variable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it
Nope.
for the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and...
I'm guessing we died. I'm guessing we are dead. Dead. But again, the end is never the end.
The Bucket Destroyer. My prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spell-binding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
What now? Do we just start again?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Have I missed anything? Like, without kind of giving away spoilers. Or too much spoilery things.
Everyone is so lucky to have a bucket, but Stanley is a very lucky fellow. Very lucky indeed.
Is there some shit I've missed? Because I can't remember.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
So I don't...
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
I don't think I went down the vent with the bucket.
Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there.
I don't think I've been down here with the bucket. I think I was here without the bucket? Maybe? Or is this going to be exactly the same? Still can't jump.
Okay, this is day number 295.
So this is the same. I must have come down here with the bucket.
I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense.
Okay. Let's begin again. And I'll do that without the bucket. I must have done it with the bucket before.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. It was okay. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Stanley had now gotten himself so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun.
You didn't think I was actually just a recording, did you? What a silly and trite explanation that would be. All the back and forth between you and me, all the absurd adventures we've been through, and it all turns out I'm just a tape recording? It was all just in Stanley's head. I bet that's the kind of twist you think is revelatory. I bet each and every time you watch a movie where it turns out all to be in the main character's imagination, you must absolutely bolt off the couch in pure shock at the phenomenal and intricate storytelling. It must be so simple to be you. Life being an unending
Why does it sound like he
waterfall of
hates me?
surprises and delights. How much more exciting you must find the world than the rest of us do. Now I've become sad. Look what you've done to me. This is all your fault.
Me? What did I do? Oh, we're back here. Where shit is weird.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
So I'm just going to sit here for a minute to see if there is anything there. If there isn't, I'll cut it out. Or just this waiting period anyway. But, yeah, I want to see if this is actually an ending. I'm going to assume this is not an ending. What if I don't take the bucket? Then it's the same from here on out.
It takes a lot of humility to carry a bucket so magnificent. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Don't know what more there is to do. Oh, we've got the escape doorway.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office would... Stanley, we must move on to this room closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. If I did, coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Still the same. Oh, input. Yeah. They're still the same. Can we, like...
Stepping into his manager's office,
Ah.
Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire, if not for this. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Can you, like, back out of those doors?
Wait, Stanley said to the bucket. Can we go back up? When I was pressing those keypad buttons, there was
Oh.
something very intriguing about the number 3. I want to go back so I can try pressing the number 3 again. The bucket said nothing.
Okay. That was different.
Here we are, said Stanley. Now I'm going to try out that number 3 button. He took the bucket over to the... Well, he said, the number 3 is such a special button. I'm having the time of my life. Stanley looked expectantly at the bucket, but the bucket remained silent. This was a shock to Stanley, who had always felt such a connection with the bucket. How was this not as exciting to the bucket as it was to him? Once Stanley had had enough of the number 3, he got back in the elevator.
Is this open again yet? No. Sorry, excuse me.
Perhaps the bucket had missed something. Perhaps it had not seen how much joy Stanley got from slamming the number 3 repeatedly. No, said Stanley to the bucket. You can't go on yet. Not till you understand how much the number 3 means to me. You and I have been through so much together, and I just want you to see what I see. Feel the happiness I feel. He smiled at the bucket, and the bucket said nothing.
If we do it one more time then. Oh, we've got to go press the number 3.
Here we go, said Stanley. This time I'll really show you. He ran to the number 3 and began to wail on it like a musician on a beloved instrument, weaving a concerto of truth and passion. He wielded the number 3 like a fine artist would wield a paintbrush. He told stories through the number 3, stories of his dreams and hopes and fears, and the whole time he looked to his bucket for a reaction of some kind. Anything to let him know that the bucket appreciated what he was doing. The bucket conveyed absolutely nothing at all.
Rude.
Silence. Crushed by a wave of dejection, Stanley returned to the elevator.
Okay. So if we go up and down one more time, that'll also be 3 times.
So close. They'd always been there for one another. Why suddenly could the bucket not connect with this passion of Stanley's? The question caused Stanley to ruminate the whole way down the elevator. He knew that there must be a way to get through to the bucket, to communicate fully with his dear friend. Surely there was a solution, mustn't there be?
Oh, no dialogue.
Said Stanley. I know what to do. I know how to fully express this feeling in my heart. He decided right then and there that he would hold a press conference where he would speak to the public on all matters relating to pressing the number 3 over and over.
Right.
He would elaborate fully on what the number 3
Why was there a guy? There's a guy.
So alive when pressing it. Then the bucket would be able to see his joy through the eyes of others. It would get to see the world react to this discovery of Stanley's. And it would be through the public eye that the bucket would finally understand Stanley's work. For months, he advertised and marketed his press conference, building excitement around it, developing and rehearsing it, until it couldn't be refined a single measure further. When the big day arrived, Stanley was as prepared as he'd ever been for anything in his life. This was it. One last chance to win the bucket over. One opportunity to share a true connection with a loved one.
Remember where you came from, your co-workers. Huh. This is
There
weird.
was no one here. Nobody had come to the press conference to hear Stanley speak, to listen to him talk about what it really means to press the number 3 on a keypad over and over. He was unloved, uninteresting. He was a failure. And in that moment, Stanley knew that the bucket would never again take him seriously. There would be no connection, no deeper understanding. The bucket merely sat there in his arms, indifferent. And so it began that slowly, over many years, the two of them grew more and more distant. They spoke less and less, neither wishing to state the obvious, that any sense of real respect between them had eroded since that day at the press conference. There would be no more games, no more long conversations about passion and pursuit, only a silence that consumed the space between friends. And Stanley, having for once in his life discovered the warmth and comfort of true companionship, was cast back into the unremarkable normalcy of loneliness.
Okay. Oh my days. So there's some really obscure things. Can I just...
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
That was an ending? Oh, okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Input.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
We just need one more input now. So is that one more game restart?
Stanley cradled the bucket in a gentle embrace, protective yet delicate, assertive yet compassionate.
Where else have we not been? Oh yeah, the escape bit. Before I got distracted.
Stanley clasped the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Let's go and do that.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into...
I broke the door. Oh, there we go. Oh. I broke it. Well, I probably didn't break it. Oh, we're now going backwards. I didn't think I was going to be able to do that. It's so quiet. There's another door. We're now leaving. I have to do this without the bucket as well. I didn't realize we could do this. Do you think this is where that elevator goes? It doesn't seem to go anywhere. We should check that. Oh god, this staircase is so long. So dark. There's so room for both of us in that escape pod. Don't you dare just send the bucket. I suppose in theory, if we sent the bucket, then we could go back. We could fit in there as well anyway. But if the bucket stayed, like, gone, and then we went to the mind control room and turned it off, then we get out as well, and then we just gotta go find the bucket. Right, let's go do that without the bucket. Oh, we need to look for the other input. Oh, I want to do that now? Welcome to Stanley Heaven. They're just chanting buttons. Buttons. So this is Stanley Heaven. I presume there's not a way out. Do we begin again? Let me know if that was wrong, if there is like a way out. Oh, maybe that stays there now. Okay, alright, let's go.
Wind blew outside and perhaps rain started, and if it did, it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather.
The end is never the end. All of the computers are on. Replacement bucket. The end is never the end. All right.
Stanley came to a set of two open doors. He entered the door on his left.
What happens when you stop to have an itch? You walk into a wall.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his... Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Wait, it's not letting me now.
Here's the door.
No! Crap. Okay. Well, we can go do the escape thing without the bucket, because I don't think I've done that. I'm not really 100% sure.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Yup. Ooh. Yeah, I don't think I've been down here.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
I don't know if that's an option. Right guys, I am gonna leave this part here. Thank you so much for watching. Please do leave any suggestions down below. Anything I've missed, any little hints you guys can give me. We've got a couple things to do. We've got the escape with the bucket. Then we've got to find the escape pod without the bucket and hope I don't fuck up the door situation. And then I don't really know what else there is. So I either need to... There's a phone ringing. I either need to look up some endings, or if you guys want to leave any below. I can't answer the phone, so it's fine. For whatever reason, it's just ringing. So, oh dear. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.